Our story begins not in a bustling city or a serene forest, but in a place often overlooked, a place where the wind carried more than just dust. It carried whispers of forgotten dreams. This was the village of Eldoria, nestled in a valley known as the Hollow of Whispers. Eldoria was famous for its exquisite tapestries, woven with threads dyed from rare, luminescent moss found only in the valley's depths. But even more famous were its weavers, particularly the master weavers, who could imbue their creations with a faint, almost imperceptible echo, a lingering feeling or a sense of the story depicted within the fabric. Our protagonist was a young woman named Lyra. Unlike the other weavers who started with grand designs and vibrant colors, Lyra was drawn to the discarded, the forgotten. She would collect the frayed ends of threads, the tiny, almost invisible fibers that fell from the looms, and the dull, muted dyes that no one else bothered with. Her fellow villagers, especially the established weavers, often scoffed. "What can you make with scraps, Lyra?" they would ask, their voices laced with a mix of pity and amusement. Tapestries need boldness, clarity, not the ghosts of other works. Lyra, however, possessed a quiet tenacity. She wasn't seeking the grand applause or the vibrant displays. She felt a different calling, a resonance with the silent stories held within the overlooked. She spent her days in a small, sun-dappled corner of the communal weaving house, meticulously sorting her scraps, her movements as gentle and precise as a hummingbird's wings. One day, a peculiar silence fell over Eldoria. The luminous moss, the very source of their vibrant dyes, began to wither. Its glow dimmed, and its color faded to a dull gray. Panic rippled through the village. Their livelihoods, their art, their very identity were tied to this moss. The master weavers, renowned for their intricate knowledge, tried everything: ancient incantations, special fertilizers, even moving the moss to different parts of the valley. Nothing worked. The moss continued to die. Despair began to set in. The looms stood silent, their threads gathering dust. The vibrant hum of the weaving house was replaced by the heavy sighs of its inhabitants. Even the usually jovial village elder, Lyra, looked somber. "We are adrift," she declared at a village meeting. "Our colors are gone. Our echoes have faded." It was then that Lyra, usually so quiet, spoke up. Her voice, though soft, carried an unexpected conviction. "Perhaps," she began, "the echo is not just in the color, but in the story itself. Perhaps it's not about what we see, but what we feel." Her words were met with skepticism. How could faded threads, broken pieces, tell a story worthy of Eldoria? But Lyra, a woman of wisdom who had seen many seasons, looked at Lyra with a glimmer of hope in her eyes. She had always noticed the peculiar intensity in Lyra's gaze, the way she seemed to listen to the unsaid. "Lyra," she said, "you have always seen beauty where others saw only discard. Show us what you mean." Encouraged, Lyra took to her small loom. Instead of the grand flowing designs of the master weavers, she began to construct a tapestry of fragments. She wove with the dull, withered threads, the broken strands, even tiny slivers of the now faded moss itself. Her initial choices seemed chaotic, a jumble of muted grays, browns, and faint, ghost-like hints of what once was. Days turned into nights. Lyra worked tirelessly, her fingers moving with a focused intent. She wasn't trying to recreate the vibrant scenes of the past. Instead, she was weaving a narrative of the present, the fading light, the quiet sorrow, the resilience of the few remaining specks of color. She wove in the broken hopes, the quiet anxieties, the strength that still flickered within the villagers. As she worked, something remarkable began to happen. The villagers, drawn by a strange, inexplicable pull, would gather around her loom. They couldn't explain it, but as they watched Lyra, their eyes would drift from the seemingly chaotic mess of threads to the emerging patterns. In the muted grays, some saw the mist that often enveloped the valley, protecting them. In the faint browns, others felt the grounding strength of their ancestors, and in the almost invisible, whisper-thin threads of faded moss, a strange sensation began to stir within them. It wasn't a vibrant, joyous echo. It was something deeper, more profound. It was the echo of resilience, of endurance, of finding beauty in fragility. It was the echo of shared hardship and the quiet strength of community. When Lyra finally finished, the tapestry wasn't a magnificent explosion of color. It was a subtle, almost ethereal piece. Its colors were muted, its patterns fragmented. Yet, when the villagers stood before it, a wave of collective emotion washed over them. They saw their own struggles reflected, but also their unwavering spirit. They felt the quiet courage that had kept them going, the bonds that held them together. Then, a truly miraculous thing occurred. As the last rays of the setting sun fell upon Lyra's tapestry, a faint, almost imperceptible glow emanated from it. It wasn't the vibrant luminescence of the healthy moss, but a soft, internal radiance. It was the echo, not of a grand scene, but of their collective will to persevere. And then, slowly, tentatively, in the deepest, most shadowed crevices of the Hollow of Whispers, a tiny, almost invisible speck of the luminous moss began to glow again. Then another, and another. Not with the overwhelming brilliance of before, but with a gentle, persistent light. The villagers gasped. It wasn't a sudden miraculous return to abundance, but a fragile, nascent hope. The moss was not cured, but it was responding. It was reacting to the echo of resilience, to the story of strength woven into Lyra's tapestry. Lyra's creation, woven from the forgotten and the faded, had become a conduit for their inner light. It showed them that true strength wasn't always in what was grand and visible, but often in the quiet, persistent spirit that found beauty in brokenness and hope in the shadow. Eldoria didn't immediately return to its former glory. The luminous moss took time to recover, and the vibrant dyes were still scarce. But Lyra's tapestry hung in the communal house, a constant reminder. The master weavers, humbled and inspired, began to experiment with the faded threads, finding new depths in muted tones. They learned that the echo wasn't just about depicting a story, but about evoking a feeling, even from the most unassuming materials. Lyra, the quiet weaver of echoes, never sought fame. She continued to collect the discarded, the forgotten, for she knew that within every broken piece, every faded memory, lay a silent story waiting to be heard, waiting to reveal a new kind of beauty, a new kind of strength. And so, the village of Eldoria, once known for its vibrant colors, became renowned for something far more profound, its understanding that true light can emerge even from the deepest shadows, and that the most powerful echoes are often found not in grand pronouncements, but in the quiet, persistent whispers of the human spirit. Their story became a tapestry of fragments, proving that even in brokenness, there is always the potential for a new, unexpected, and truly resonant form of beauty.